Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for Destiny Cookbook Recipes episode number 15. Today we are making something with the marshmallows from the previous episode. Today we are making s'mores bark, which I feel like is kind of a Christmassy treat and also kind of like a summery treat. Really, it can be any time of year because it's graham crackers, chocolate, and marshmallows, so I mean, you can't go wrong with that. While these goodies are baking, they will fill your home with delicious smells. Their decadent sweetness will put a smile on everyone's faces. Warlock, Hunter, Titan, and Civilian alike. This is an easy difficulty recipe with 20 minutes of prep, 10 minutes of cook. It yields 16 to 20 s'mores, and it has dairy in it. This recipe will require 5 sheets of graham cracker, 18 ounces of dark chocolate, 6 ounces of white chocolate, 1 cup of marshmallows that have been cut into small pieces. They can be store-bought or from the recipe previously, a half a cup of chocolate chips, and sea salt flakes for topping. So our first step was to line a baking sheet with parchment paper, so that's already done. It says a 10 by 10. I don't have a 10 by 10, so we're just gonna go with what we have. Now we have to crumble 3 sheets of graham cracker onto this. So that's 3 sheets of graham cracker, so we have to lightly crumble it onto this and then spread it evenly on the baking sheet. I've never actually made s'mores bark, I don't think, so this should be fun. I mean, again, it's basically s'mores, and I love s'mores, so I've made s'mores, I've just never made s'mores bark before. I'm not going to cover the whole baking sheet, I'm only going to cover about half of it because I think this is around... Well, I think it's about 10 inches wide in one direction, but I think in the other direction it's maybe less wide. I don't know. We got to go with what we have here. I don't have everything needed for a kitchen. I almost feel like it would need more graham crackers than this though. And this is fine if it doesn't cover the whole sheet because I only need really enough for one person, because I'm only really making these for myself, so... Alright, we have evenly coated the graham crackers, somewhat evenly, across a section of this baking sheet. Now we need to microwave the dark chocolate in a medium-sized bowl and stir every 30 seconds until it's fully melted. Simple enough. So I've got this semi-sweet baking chocolate. There's not really a whole lot of options at the store right now. I think I've talked about this previously, and I'm making sure that this should be, yep, it's 4 ounces, perfect. So I need 4.5 of these bars. So I mean, I have to make do with what I have because not everything I would normally want is available at the store. So I couldn't find any just like standard dark chocolate. But I feel like this is this is pretty much the closest thing I can get to it, so like I said, we just gotta go with what we have at the store. Well, this is one gigantic bowl of chocolate, guys, so I will be back here as soon as this is melted. Alright guys, the chocolate took about 2.5 minutes to get melted down properly. So it's just a giant bowl of hot chocolate, basically. So now we have to just pour it on the graham crackers in an even layer. I don't think you need as much chocolate as it says. I think you could do with less. I think you could probably do 16 ounces would be fine, maybe even less than that. I don't think you need 18 though. Yeah guys, I'm going to safely say you need no more than 16 ounces. You could probably do it with even less than that, because that's a pretty good coating right there, so you probably don't need any more chocolate than about 16 ounces. So now we're going to need 6 ounces of white chocolate, which the only kind of white chocolate I have is chocolate chips, which will work perfectly fine. So we need to microwave these the exact same way and then pour it on top of the dark chocolate, then swirl it all together with a toothpick. So I am going to be back in just a moment once this is melted down. Okay guys, so I tried to melt the white chocolate chips and I could not get them to melt at all. I actually poured in just a tad bit of water, and now it just doesn't look right and it was kind of burning, so we are not going to do that. I'm just going to top these with standard white chocolate chips and go with it that way because I know at least that way it won't be like burned or anything. It'll be fine. It's close enough. But yeah, that white chocolate does not want to melt. I assume it might be because I picked chocolate chips instead of like maybe normal white chocolate. But again, all I could find at the grocery store, so I have to go with what I have. No choice there. I mean, I have multiple grocery stores around here too and still couldn't necessarily find it, at least not easily. But these should melt into this chocolate, and it should melt a little bit when it goes under the broiler, because around this point you're supposed to preheat your oven's broiler setting. So once you put the white chocolate on, you're supposed to swirl everything together with a toothpick. Again, we're just sort of doing everything the best I can do with what I have, so we're just going to do it this way, and again, we're going to hope for the best. This white chocolate will melt some though, which is good, when it goes under the broiler, so that should help. So our next step is, once you preheated the oven broiler, we want to crumble the remaining 2 graham crackers on top of this. Yeah, this is going to be fine. It's going to be maybe a little bit chunkier with the white chocolate chips that way, but it's still going to taste fine, so I'm not exactly worried. And again, it's chocolate, it's graham cracker, it's marshmallow, it's other kinds of chocolate and chocolate chips. Okay, so now we're going to top this with about a cup of marshmallows and half a cup of chocolate chips. These might be bigger chunks of marshmallow, but they weren't wanting to cut that easily, because if I did cut them more, they were gonna be stickier, because when I originally cut the marshmallows, I cut them into fairly, not necessarily large, but these slightly larger overall shapes. So I got a bit of a comment question for you guys. How do you like your s'mores, if you ever have s'mores? Do you like them with the marshmallow just lightly toasted, or do you prefer it burnt more to a crisp, or somewhere in between? I'm usually more towards the burnt to a crisp kind of guy, but it kind of depends on my mood, on the day. As weird as that sounds. Okay, that's done. So now we're going to top it with some chocolate chips. It's just going to be a chocolate overload, and I'm obviously okay with that. You guys that know me, I enjoy chocolate quite a bit. And once that's done, we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven on the broiler setting for 1 to 2 minutes, or until the marshmallows are golden crispy brown, or just golden brown. That oven is nice and hot, so I'll be back in just 1 to 2 minutes. Okay guys, so it's been in there for a couple of minutes, and the marshmallows are melting, but they're not really browning for the most part, only toward the center. I think that's just because my oven isn't the most powerful in the world, so I don't even know the last time I used the broiler setting on it. I mean, it currently looks like it's going to be like a gigantic marshmallow chocolate cookie, actually more than s'mores bark, which I'm okay with because I enjoy that. So now we have to leave it in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour. Alright guys, now that this thing got to sit in the fridge for an hour, it is looking pretty tasty. As you can see here, it almost looks like a pie, or not really a pie, like a big cookie, like the ones you would get at like Papa John's or something. Marshmallow is still very sticky, so now it wants us to top with a generous amount of sea salt flakes. I couldn't find sea salt flakes, so we're just going to use a bit of processed sea salt. I'm not going to put too much on it. A couple pinches across the whole thing. Don't want it to be overwhelming since it's not the flakes the thing says. From this point on, you can store it in an airtight container once it's chopped up, and store it for up to 1 week, my bad. So, let's give it a taste test. That is good. That is really, really good, guys. I like that a lot. A little more complicated to make than the palmiers, but this is a really good dessert. It's so sweet. It's just chocolate, marshmallow, and graham cracker, so you can't go wrong with that, but it's delicious. I would highly recommend this recipe. Yeah, that is good. So I would highly, highly recommend this recipe if you like sweet things. If you're not a big sweet eater, then you might not like this one as much. But if you are, you are in for a real treat. This stuff is delicious, even with the whole issues I had with the white chocolate. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you haven't already. Next time around, we will be making another marshmallow-themed recipe with the remainder of the marshmallows. So yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you for the next one.